Hello and welcome to the Bowling University studio from the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. Welcome to the Profit Break. If you're joining us for the first time, we're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes and you'll be well on your way to improving yourself and your profitability. For those who own a game room, the significant impact it can have on your business profitability is undeniable. However, maintaining its success is far from a passive exercise. It involves several elements ranging from building the ideal team and game selection to driving sales, fostering guest loyalty, and streamlining operational systems. It may be daunting, and rightfully so, considering the complexity involved. On today's episode, join us as we take a dive into the intricacies of the arcade industry with Jim Bennington, drawing from his extensive 25-plus years of first-hand experience working alongside industry giants such as Dave & Buster's, Jillian's, and Lucky Strike Entertainment. Jim is the visionary behind No Cash Value LLC and brings forth a wealth of expertise. His consultancy offers invaluable guidance to both established and new facilities seeking to break into the arcade space. Jim, thank you for joining us today. Great to see you again.
John, thank you so much for having me. How awesome is this?
It's awesome to have somebody of your expertise with us, so thank you very much for your time. So let's jump right in because it's a great topic to cover in such a short amount of time. So one thing you've been a proponent of that I want you to share with us a little bit more is the hashtag pots and pans. What can you tell us about that, and how is that going to benefit the arcade industry?
Pots and pans, John, thank you for asking, is a hashtag that came out of a conversation about talking about the original kind of workhorse technology of the arcades that everybody counts on, that you can walk in and see like 75% of the same machines are kind of that pots of the arcade, the plain old technical stuff. Then you get into the pans, the pretty advanced new stuff, VR, online, memberships, apps, QR codes. There's a lot of pots and pans in the arcade. Mm-hmm. So it became a fun tongue-in-cheek and something that's grabbed a little bit of traction around the industry.
So I imagine that you've hashtagged it, so it's out there on social media if anybody wants to take a peek into some of the comments there, right?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
All right,
it's all over the platform.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for explaining that. I appreciate that. All right. So now we've talked about very often in the past of the right kind of people. Okay, and we know everything is about the staff that you have. What advice do you have on finding good staff, and particularly technicians seem harder and harder to come by, especially if you're a one-off or you've got two locations. What kind of advice do you have for our members on finding good help?
I think you start in your community where you have people who are interested in the niches that cross over in the arcade world, specifically electronics, computer maintenance. Look for people who are comfortable working in small spaces with low voltage electronics. That'd be car stereo installers. We found some of our best hires have come from the audio video theater installation world. They understand the dynamics of the goes intos and the goes outos of equipment. What you have to put into it to get a quality visual and audio representation, all of that plays in the arcade because the games today are so dynamic visually with audio and plugs-ins and what is this online and do I need to have a lobby for it? So finding people who play in those similar parallels, you will find people who are passionate about the arcade, creating fun, creating an amusement park in a box, if you will. So look for the niche installers, the niche technicians. That's where we found a tremendous amount of success.
Okay, good advice. Good advice. Thanks for that. So let's jump into sales a little bit.
Yeah.
How, in your experience, what's the best way? How do you drive sales through that arcade, through that game space, and then ultimately that's going to impact the whole facility? So what kind of guidance can you give us there? How do you drive those sales?
Great question, John. And I think what you have to focus on is what is your basis of currency in the arcade? So if you're a cash-based arcade, your sales are going to be driven by the impulse play, and they're going to be fixed at denominational values in people's pockets, 1, 5, 10, 20. If you're on a token-based system, now we're turning $1 into a tangible item that has no cash value. A token is just a piece of brass that activates entertainment. But now if you're on a card system, you have every opportunity to leverage your sales by bundling, by upselling, by creating an organic interface with your guest based on the amount of entertainment they want to consume in your environment. Not necessarily fixed at a denominational value of a 1, 5, or 10, but once you get into the digital card system and leverage the kiosk or leverage your upsell opportunities, you can go in and appeal directly to your core player, your core guest who may be coming to your facility for a completely different entertainment activity or amenity, but their experience crosses over into the arcade, or it starts in the arcade and branches out while they're on a wait time for bowling, for laser tag, for free roam VR, go-karts. So taking the technology we already have and leveraging it into your kiosks and bundle packs is going to speak directly to your niche players.
I imagine that that's really critical. I mean, from a marketing perspective and just a value perspective for your guests to be able, once they go to that kiosk and see that. For those that aren't fully aware of it, is that something where they can go to their game card provider to help them, developing that screen, developing some of the values? Because, I noticed on yours, I think the first value was 15. I've seen some that go as far as 25 or 30 for the first one, but I imagine that's market dependent.
That is market dependent, John. It's a great question. Working directly with your point of sale provider, going back to the roots of why you committed to purchasing that critical organism within your business is going to be very, very important as you look to leverage, create promotions that are specific on amenities, offerings, and seasonality. Working directly with the foundation of your point of sale system is going to be able to leverage modifiers. Modifiers create 10 cents more, 20 cents more if it's a cheeseburger on your restaurant point of sale. We're looking to apply those same types of modifiers through bundling, play packs, and boosted opportunities. Leverage just like upselling a cheese, bacon, or avocado. So same point of sale technology in the same environment, just leveraged toward entertainment versus a food and beverage basis.
I love that analogy. That was a great one. So, how do we leverage the other amenities in a center? Most centers now, they're going towards that model of multifaceted entertainment. So bowling is an anchor, then there's a game room, then there might be laser tag, there might be VR, and so on. How do you leverage those other amenities in the center?
John, it's in my mind, it's a lot like building a website where you need a landing page. And a landing page in your venue could be your hostess stand, your concierge stand, your shoe counter, wherever your centering gathering point for where you first interact with your guest is where you're going to start that experience. So having organized point of sale signage, wayfinding signage that entices and excites the guest before they arrive at the amenity, those are critical steps. Let them start spending money from their couch, in the car, in the parking lot before they walk through your door. And you can curate that through an intentional marketing program that steps each person into your venue, makes a real life person introduction, and then allows you to introduce each one of the amenities based on the guest's desire to play. Maybe it's based on their budget for the night, or maybe they're up against the clock because they're going to a movie. So by offering them a landing page, a simple menu of options that are clear, concise, and value-driven to say, hey, we want you to try it all, maybe you just came for one thing. So you have to have multiple price tiers in that marketing to expose the guest to each one of the amenities in the venue.
So what I'm hearing is that customer journey isn't just you don't just let it happen. You really, if you want to be effective,
it starts with a hashtag.
You're going to hashtag, right, and plan it all out. So great advice, great. So all right, one more. We have time for one more question. Let me ask you this: in your experience, okay, that's all great information you've given us so far. It's great that we can get somebody there for the first time, but how do we get them back, and then how do we keep them coming back? Again and again and again. What can you tell us about that?
Well, if you're offering a venue that has multiple facets of entertainment, you're going to identify through your P&L very quickly which facets of your venue are financially appealing to your guests, while other areas of your venue are used more for dwell time, for, hey, come and look at me and celebrate me time, versus actual engaged at the activity. So when you start to look at what do you need to do to bring your guest back, it's not just offering an amazing bowling experience. It's got to offer an amazing guest service experience. The flavor of your kitchen has to come through on every plate, not just your special of the day. And so those are the small touch points of taking it back to the basics that will invite and entice your guests to come back frequently and more regularly, especially if it's clean, neat, and organized from the moment they turn into your parking lot. It makes a difference on what's blowing around in your parking lot or what might be gathered 10 feet around your door. Do you have Vape Pen Johnny hanging out there? Are you intentional about your guest approach to the front door and right to the space of entertainment that you're trying to curate their experience? So clean, neat, organizing, surprisingly consistent. I like to say that to a lot of my teams is our venue should always be surprisingly consistent, meaning I can expect the same consistent flavor, the same consistent entertainment, the same consistent functionality, along with something new that meets that same expectation. What I mean by that, John, is too often people buy a cool attraction and put all their time and energy on polishing that one thing and showing off that one thing while they neglect the most important corners of their venue. So keeping it balanced, recognizing players as winners. Winners make players, players make winners.
I love that. That's a great one. And I can tell you have food and beverage in your background. I think somebody with food and beverage in their background makes for the best games person. So, Jim, that is great information. I know we've only scratched the surface, but thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, John. This was a wonderful, wonderful break in my afternoon, and I hope it's been a delight for you as well.
Great information. Again, thanks. And I know you're busy, so we appreciate your time and your expertise. So, hey, everybody else, if you'd like to connect with Jim and learn more about operating in the arcade space, you can contact him. You'll see his contact information is available on the screen there. Or if you're ready to start improving your profitability, you can reach us anytime at education@bpaa.com. As we wrap up another edition of the Profit Break, remember that when your focus is on growing people, people will grow your business. This episode, as well as all our previous episodes, are available 24/7 for you and your team at bowlinguniversity.net. Plus, new episodes are available every month, so mark your calendar, watch your email, and join us on Facebook to hear about the latest episodes. Until then, I'm John Karabatsis, and do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.